Hello and welcome to the overview video for our new filter box. So this filter sub box is kind of a culmination of a couple products we have in our DIY line. This takes the resistor sub box, it also takes the film cap sub box, marries them together and gives some on-the-fly options for when you're breadboarding. You want to grab something for filtering. It's going to help with on-the-fly creativity. I kind of want to go over some of the features for it, how to use it in a typical circuit application, and kind of show what it can do to streamline your breadboarding. So first step, we're going to be going into just an op-amp clean boost here that I've got on the breadboard. We've got the schematic here as well, just to give some eyes on what we're going to be doing. Pretty simple, straightforward schematic. We've got an op-amp boost section. We've got a knob for how much boost. But what we're really focusing on here isn't the circuit as a whole right now. We're going to focus here at the output. And I want to kind of show you how we're going to attach the filter, and we're going to play a little bit during it to kind of give a real-time feel to see if this is right for your arsenal of DIY tools. So right here, R8, this is going to be our culprit. We want to actually remove this, and we're going to substitute it in with the filter box, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we want to do first is we want to find the output. We're going out of 6, which is right here. We're going to be going to this guy. So that's our 560 ohm. We're actually going to remove that because right now this is hardwired at our output, as we see here. And we want to get this filter box in here because a filter is going to have 2 components at its minimum in a passive application to do low pass and high pass filtering. And this sub box is going to do the work of both of those components and be able to flip their orientation. We're going to get into that in a minute. So let's get this out of our network. We see it right here. And remember, if you're building something at home and maybe you're not making an op-amp section, but let's say you have like a fuzz or a boost pedal that's FET, BJT, whatever it is, there's a good chance you're going to have an output resistor like this, and you can kind of follow and drop in the same approach that we're doing here. So that being said, we've got our thing removed, so our circuit's going to be broken here. What we're going to do is we're going to replace it with this filter sub box, and that's going to allow us to do some on-the-fly filtering. Let's bring in this quick little drawing I did here, just to give a visual of what we're going to be experiencing. So we've got low pass filter, which is like a traditional guitar pedal where you turn the knob up, it gets brighter, even though technically turning it down is what's getting it darker, because that's allowing your lows to pass through, but not the highs. And then in a high pass filter, it's the opposite. It's going to let your highs pass through, but it's going to cut off the lows. This is a really useful tool as well. So let's get to the filter box here. We've got 3 connections here. They're all dedicated, and they're on the bottom here of this faceplate. So what we got first is we got our in. So the in is going to be the start of our network. Remember, we took out a resistor, and we can think of that resistor, just like the other sub boxes, the legs of this filter box kind of represent the legs of a component. Whether you're substituting in resistor or capacitor, these legs are representing it. So now our in, that's going to be our first leg here. So we're going to go right there, because that's the output of our op-amp. Then the red lead is our out, so that's the other section of the resistor here. It's going to go and make that connection that we originally broke. So now we've got these 2 components. This is helping to complete our circuit. The last thing we need to do, and we want to refer over here, is we've got our 2 components. We've got an in, we've got an out, and one of the 2, depending on the way we have it oriented in the toggle switch, is going to be going to ground. So we have to make that connection to ground. So in our world, black is always ground. So we're just going to tuck that in right over there. And now we've got all the connections made. We've got an in connection, and that one is our blue. We've got an out connection. That one is our red. And then we have our dedicated ground. This one is our black. And it's going to translate down here. We're not going to have to adjust this filter box once it's in the location we want at all, because the knobs and the toggle switch is going to do everything for us. Alright, so I've set up our filter sub box in somewhat of a neutral or somewhat standard operation here, and we have it in a low pass filter because that's a classic filter network on stuff like Proco Rat that has the tone knob or the filter knob. You're going to see that in a lot of products. So now remember, low pass means the lows are going to pass, but it's going to cut off the highs. Now this cut here, this knee, we're not going to get too into the weeds of this from the math standpoint, because this is going to allow us to select it. And an important thing here really is just messing with this is the spirit of it, and kind of getting an idea by the ear, because that's how a lot of us build too. Then we can figure out some of the math if we want to. So we've got our filter box set up. We are toggle switched into the low pass filter. So we're going to get something like that on our schematic and our graph. We are starting at 10K, and we've got a 10N. So we're going to turn this circuit on. So our lows are going to pass as usual. It's our highs that are going to really kind of be attenuated here. So let's get something kind of a little bit brighter. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll back this into different places. It's going to be just like a tone knob would be on a pedal. So you can hear our brights are coming back in there as if you were to change your tone knob. Now I'm going to increase it. We're going to hear those lows stay, but the highs are going to be rolled off. We can go even farther. See, that's really extreme. So, as we saw, going into our 47K on this, if we were to hardwire that, there's going to be way too much high-end roll-off. So the nice thing with the filter sub-box is, if you've got a circuit where you do need to get rid of some low-end, maybe it's coming after something like an op-amp stage, you can tame it. Or if it's coming after something like a loud gain stage that's got clipping and stuff going on, a lot of times you're going to get overtones, these certain frequencies that might be too much. You'd be able to actually cut off some of those. Now the same thing is going for over here. This is going to set our capacitor that's going to ground. So we'll be able to hear what the most extreme setting would be. Alright, so that's a much more aggressive filtering. Might be too much for hardwiring it, but it's going to give you as the designer an idea of maybe what the capacitor is going to be. So let's say we stick more in like this range, 22N. 100 is pretty close to being off. So if we were to hardwire here in this circuit a 22N, and we wanted to leave a variable resistor like a pot, we would have a sweep that sounds like this. This resistor would just be a 10K pot. Or we find that we do need to tame something in the front end before it gets to another network. We can use this to quickly audition what we need to remove, whether it's highs or lows. All right, so let's actually flip the toggle here, and let's go into the high-pass filter. These passive components are literally going to switch like this. No changing of the connectors, the ground, nothing. It's all going to do it internally, and we're going to go into the high-pass filter. So we're going to hear our highs coming through, and we're going to cut out lows. This is really ideal in a circuit that might be super bass heavy. A lot of times you'll see it at the input. You don't want to amplify it later on, or even after an amplification network. It's really going to be on what you want it to sound like, what it's giving you in the circuit. So let's get back to neutral. Let's go to our high-pass filter. Now, you can already actually hear how extreme it is. So we got some highs still. But there's a lower fidelity quality here because I've taken all of those lows out. Which could inspire you for something kind of in the lo-fi world. Right? Let's quickly remember what it was like before. Full body like normal. So, now's the time, again, like I said, we're not going to really worry about the math and everything. Let's just twist some knobs. This is really kind of the spirit of trying stuff out on the fly. So you can hear we got a bigger capacitor here. We're letting more lows go through. Let's adjust the resistor one as well. So as we increase, we're going to get more bass to stay. As we decrease our resistor, just like if it were a knob, we're going to actually be dumping a lot of that to ground. So let's listen to the resistor go down as we play. Just starving all of the bass end there. Now let's adjust the capacitors. So a couple quick twists and we can already see like the limits of what we're going to want to do in this circuit as it is applied. We're going to want to keep a bigger capacitor. That sounds pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. So there's our bypass. And again, we can instantly switch over to low pass, cut those highs out. Alright, and there you have it, the filter substitution box to help streamline your creativity and allow you to audition on the fly different low-pass and high-pass filters. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have fun experimenting on your own.